The bots have kidnapped my mum.
This is a big wake-up call because of how fast it's happening.
Bots have been there, they're just on the rise and they're getting more sophisticated.
OpenAI are basically going into shutdown.
$100 million is what you got when you sold your company, right? But now they're just throwing this money at acqui-hires.
Something new comes out and everybody's, suddenly worth a lot more than they were originally.
AI needs the power. It kind of feels like being the bloke in the old steam engine of a train, the one that just has the shovel and chucks the coal in. It's like that's what the human race has been demoted to.
Hello and welcome to episode 92 of Disconnected. I'm your host, Jag Sharma, joined by Jen Campbell in Hong Kong, Jason Kapadia in Dubai, and Matt Webster in Rio de Janeiro. And together, we'll be delving into the world of AI, tech, and social media, and how it's impacting society and culture. Coming up, YouTube doesn't need you. It's got robots, thanks. Jason takes us through his thoughts on this and how it's linked to the dead internet theory. Matt ponders whether or not we are witnessing the end of the road for the hashtag, and Jen takes us through OpenAI and Meta duking it out for top AI talent. Quick one, guys, before we get started. Have any of you noticed on Google in the past few months that when you search for something, you get an answer to the query based on AI data scraping, meaning that you can get the info you need with 0 clicks? Is this going to kill the business model of the internet? We've had the blue link economy for years now. You do your search, you get your pages from the blue colored links, you click on one, if it's sponsored, Google get their cut. Google was designed in a way to get people off Google ASAP, to do their search, click to a site, and go. If we're getting many of our search answers within Google Pages thanks to AI summaries, will this turn off people, entities, publishers, businesses from creating content, as it's just going to be scraped and curated by Google into AI summary answers on a Google results page? What do you guys think? Have you seen this? Have you seen the AI answers to your questions on Google? Do you like the 0 clicks? Tell me your thoughts.
Well, there's a video that's doing the rounds at the moment on social, and it's I think it's Cloudflare CEO Matthew Prince, and he's doing quite a doomsday presentation in his time on stage at Cannes, talking about the death of the internet and saying that not so much the death of the internet, but the death of original content, because people are looking at these overviews when they're searching on Google. I'm the same. I've been doing that. I've noticed that I don't delve into the individual sites anymore. And this, a lot of this is to do with people trusting AI more. So they'll see that AI overview and go, okay, there's the information I need. And Matthew Prince was saying how this is a big wake-up call because of how fast it's happening for publishers, for original content. Do we need original content? What's the point in creating it if no one's going to look at it?
It's funny because I don't know that it's people that trust AI more or people are just lazy. It's the first thing that comes up. So read it, take it, believe it, move on. It's part of it as well, because some of the things I've searched is come up with very strange answers. And when you delve a bit deeper, it's very superficial. Mainly use it for things I'm looking at work. So it does take a bit more research and a bit more depth, but there's a laziness to it as well.
Yeah, definitely. I've got some publisher friends that are scrambling because their revenue source from ads and all the clicks that they used to get organically is now, halved or even more. And, Google are doing this in response to OpenAI and, ChatGPT kind of going and taking their market share for search. So like we said in previous episodes, this is existential for Google. They've had to do it out of force. But now where's the incentive to create original content? Like, how is this going to be done long term if Google is just going to get smarter and smarter at extracting those answers for you on your behalf? Like Jen, I have seen it make mistakes sometimes, and that's not great, but obviously the AI will improve and you can kind of give it feedback. But where's it going to get its original content from?
It was not helpful to me recently is I just got back from London, and the alarm on my place kept going off because I was triggering the RCD in the consumer unit while changing the downlight. If you know what that means, great. If you don't worry. And the Google search just couldn't help me in the AI part of it. I had to really delve in and find the answer. However, if I'm just doing like a very generic search or a quick search, then it's pretty useful. So I guess with time, it'll just get better and better. And then, yeah, like who's going to want to create content anymore if it's all, no one's going to come to your site? Something's going to change. Well, something's going to happen for sure. But anyway, just thought I'd ponder on that. It's not why we're here. We got bigger fish to fry, bigger things to talk about for today's episode. And do you know what? Jen, why don't we start with you? Because OpenAI and Meta, they're offering out some big salaries, so they're probably knocking on yours and my door any day now.
It's a great link, Jag, because I run a content agency. So imagine how thrilled I am about the prospects of me earning a lot of money in the next few years. Pretty low, especially when you come to look at this story. So Meta are currently luring all the top talent from competitors, and especially from OpenAI. So I was reading today that there's stats from last year that basically said that last year Meta lost 4.3% of its top talent to other AI tech companies. And you could believe it, right? They were really slow off the board. They didn't really have anything innovative coming out that was bigger and better than anyone else. So they are kind of flipping that on its head and taking the bull by the horn. And in mid kind of June, they made a huge investment, a 49% stake investment in Scale AI, a data company that it produces and labels data that's used to train large language models. So you can see why the technology is interesting to Meta. But more than that, they've brought the co-founder and CEO away from Scale AI, and they've put him, Alexander Wang, as the head of their new superintelligence team. So they've essentially, imagine being that valuable that somebody would spend millions investing in your company to get you to come and lead a team at Meta. I mean, blows my mind. I'll never be that important. Jason, you may be. Anyway, they brought him in, and they are now trying to lure all the AI researchers into this superintelligence team at Meta. And so Sam Altman was on a podcast with his brother a couple of weeks ago, kind of mid-June time again, saying, Meta are offering $100 million signing bonuses. They're offering crazy compensation packages. They're trying to lure people in. And so far, it's not been successful and nobody's gone. I think that was around about the 17th of June. And lo and behold, 2 weeks later, 4 of their senior researchers have left OpenAI and moved over to Meta. They say the $100 million signing bonus isn't correct, but you can imagine it's built into different weird, wonderful wording. They probably haven't just been given $100 million in cash, but there's definitely incentives there. And you can see OpenAI are really kind of getting a bit nervous about it. There's now lots of leaked documents of what they've been saying to their staff. So their chief research officer, Mark Chen, has come out and said, it feels like somebody's broken into our home and is basically robbing the staff in the team. And I don't know if this is off the back of it or they were planning this anyway, but OpenAI are basically going into shutdown next week or this week as this podcast launches to give their team time to recharge. So it's well known that staff at OpenAI have been working, 80-hour weeks or longer or more, and they're acknowledging it and they're saying like everybody needs to reset and recharge. And, next week, just the core staff will work and you guys go away and reset and recharge. And off the back of that, they're saying, but we know in that time, Meta are going to come to you and they're going to make you offers. And if they do that, then let us know and we'll help you navigate it. And, we're trying to look at our compensation packages and what we can do and blah, 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 blah. It's super interesting. I mean, imagine being that important that people are coming from you for all angles. But that's the talent war. This is what happens. Something new comes out and everybody's, suddenly worth a lot more than they were originally. I think we looked like a few years ago when Meta were putting all of their eggs in the kind of metaverse basket and they were pulling in engineers from all over the place. They were paying them so much money and then they let them all go. And so I'm not assuming these people are going to get let go. This is obviously the way things are moving forward, but it's unsurprising. And I actually quite like OpenAI's approach to it. They're being very open with their staff in saying this is going to happen. And if you want to go, then, that's up to you if you're lured by this money. But, this is what we're doing and we're not sitting by and letting it happen. And actually, the one thing I really loved about what Mark Chen said was in his memo that's been leaked, he said, while I'll fight to keep every one of you, I won't do it at the price of fairness to others. And I think that's super valid, right? Not one person is worth a whole team, for example. And there's going to be a cap at some point. Not everybody can be paid these huge amounts of money. And in fairness to, for example, juniors who are as valuable because they're doing a lot of grunt work, it's not fair to say, okay, this is my budget and I'm throwing it all at one person. So I do like OpenAI's approach, or what seemingly OpenAI's approach is currently. I think Meta have got a history of not being the best culture and not being the best fit for a lot of people. And so this war will go on. So I don't know if you guys have seen it, if you're now, upskilling yourself to be an AI researcher so you can be paid millions of dollars, or you just think that's life. That's life in the tech world. What's your thoughts?
I just wanted to ask, obviously it's all about the money, and that's how they're drawing them in. That's how Meta are spending big to get the talent. But what about the difference between those two companies, those two organizations? One's all about productivity AI, and one's about kind of entertainment AI. That's where Meta have gone. We've got the Oakley's AI glasses, and obviously they've got the Oculus thing that's still kind of swimming around somewhere, trying to be linked to a product that works. So is that part of the enticement that, oh, look over there, they're doing kind of fun stuff with AI rather than kind of businessy productivity stuff? Don't know.
Yeah, I did think that also. Like, it is a very different approach, but the two have so many similarities. And look at Facebook, right? Every time somebody creates something new, they jump on the bandwagon and do something very similar, or they buy it for themselves. That's just the way they've always been. So I suspect they will start doing more of the agentic AI within the entertainment space or whatever it might be. But yeah, it was one thing that I also recognized.
Yeah, this talent war is super interesting. The best talent want to work with the best teams, because really this is an engineering task, which is going to be like, I guess some people are saying, one of the last main engineering tasks that humans really get to work on, because it's one of the hardest problems, and whoever creates AGI, they're saying, kind of wins the world, right? And do you want to be on the winning team? And you want to be on a team that has the resources. Now, OpenAI is no small fish. It's worth, north of $100 billion. But Meta is, last time I checked, this market cap is almost $2 trillion, right? So if you need to have access to the compute and the best people in the world. And if they are offering these kind of, I know it's not $100 million, but if they're offering this type of money, they're so super serious of being the ones to win this. And, before, I just remember, like, not too long ago, $100 million is what you got when you sold your company, right? But now they're just like, throwing this money at acqui-hires, which is crazy. And that Scale AI, a lot of it is just due to the talent that they had there. And like, just by acquiring them, I'm sure they tried to, get some of the team to say, hey, move over. And then they all were united and said, look, let's just stick together and hopefully, get this investment from them. And yeah, we all walk away richer. So the top talent has immense leverage right now. And it's really interesting to see like how much money is going in all directions to keep, just about keeping the talent. I mean, OpenAI, like you said, are saying that, we'll help you navigate this and all of that. And we're trying to be fair and all of that stuff. But all it takes is just a few key people to leave and their whole projects get completely derailed. And, some of this could be the reason that, projects like Sora and others, kind of fell by the wayside compared to, what their promise was, because just, immense talent drain is just killing the momentum that they had. But yeah, Jag, what do you reckon?
It was nice to see you get all excited when you talked about, well, this will be the last engineering jobs that the human race will do. I don't know which side you're playing for, Jace. But I don't think it'll be the last engineering job that humans do, because AI needs to run on a lot of power, and that kind of power will likely be nuclear. And so there will certainly be a role for nuclear engineers for many years to come. So turn that to my nephew. I got twin nephews, they're 14. I was telling one of them that wants to be an engineer. I said, you've got to be a nuclear engineer, Homer Simpson, wasn't he a nuclear engineer? His job is safe. Yes, his job is safe completely. So I don't know. I think it just shows like there's obviously both sides think there's a lot at stake. Therefore, they're willing just to throw money at the top talent or the perceived top talent. Yeah, it's as Jen rightly said, they're probably not going to employ us, so it's a shame. I am available if Meta or OpenAI are listening. I'll take a big salary for something. Matt, what are you going to say?
Just having an image there of, you're saying that nuclear engineers is the way forward because, AI needs the power. It kind of feels like being the bloke in the old steam engine of a train, the one that just has the shovel and chucks the coal in. It's like that's what the human race has been demoted to. So I'm still relevant. I get to feed the machine with energy because I studied nuclear physics. Pretty incredible.
I mean, yeah, okay. It's a bit doom and gloom, but it's true in a way.
Jen, what do you reckon in this week off that OpenAI are getting, right? Do you think that they're going to attend interviews at Meta and, see what they can get instead of working their 80-hour weeks?
I mean, 100%. Wouldn't you go and find out what they want to offer? Like, if they're going to come to you, you might as well go have the conversation. At the end of the day, these are people. And what drives people is money. And if people are going to offer them that money, and to your point, if Meta can now say, we've brought these people in, I'm sure there's a lot of people who want to go and work with Alexander Wang. Like, he's had an amazing success with Scale AI and he's, got a lot of knowledge that you could learn from. And for certain people, that will be a draw. So, yeah, I think they will. I think they'll have a lot of people go and to have conversations. Whether they'll go anywhere, I've got no idea. The other thing is watch out that somebody doesn't try and bring OpenAI down next week because they've just declared that nobody's working all week.
Yeah, good point. Let's see if a hack comes along. Jace, take us with you if OpenAI or Meta come calling for you, will you?
Don't we have to wait for Elon to get involved before Jason's going to get the call.
Oh,
up, don't
God,
we?
yeah.
I just want some nice merch, Jason. Just send me some decent merch when you go there. That's all I want.
Unfortunately, I'm not smart enough to, take on one of these roles, but
You're probably a shareholder.
So modest.
There's always nuclear physics.
Anyway, let's move on. And you know what, Jace? Instead of us picking on you, why don't you lead the next story? Why don't you tell us why we're no longer needed for YouTube? Why YouTube no longer needs us, certainly to create videos.
Yeah, so there's this theory called the dead internet theory, which I think started in around 2017, 2018, which basically claims that the internet will become more and more bots focused rather than people, right? I've been watching a couple of videos and going down a rabbit hole and reading some articles, and yeah, there's some crazy things happening right now. The past 6 months, like YouTube has done this kind of pivot where now 4 out of the 10 most popular YouTube channels are using AI pretty much to create every single bit of content. And there's this one channel called Masters of Prophecy that's been blowing up, and it's just AI generated music and visuals. And it's crazy how many views. It's getting hundreds of millions of views. And yes, and also I've been reading about like the stats that 40% of internet traffic is already non-human. So a significant chunk of YouTube engagement is just bots now, and they're interacting with bots, and it like raises the question, like, what does viral mean anymore? You're thinking these videos are getting hundreds of millions of views, but what is real now? Who's actually getting influenced by this? And yeah, there was another AI tool that Mr. Beast came up with. It's an AI thumbnail generator, and everyone went crazy saying it's a plagiarism tool. And there's also other things going on where 2 people are suing OnlyFans because they figured out that they weren't chatting to real models; they were chatting to AI models, right? So we're kind of seeing that, like the future is, all of us interacting with AI generated content, and we've been talking about this for a while. But it's just crazy to see that is actually true. And a few studies are saying that over 10% of online content will be completely AI generated by next year. I actually think it's going to be more, to be fair. And yeah, and the other thing is that we've talked about this computer use AI bots like OpenAI's Operator and all of that in the past episodes. But we're seeing now them being more and more capable to bypass the filters that these sites use to try to filter out bot-based traffic. And I've been seeing a lot of workarounds now. So I don't think that it's going to be long until a lot of the internet traffic is, like, in addition to that 40%, is going to be these bots just crawling the internet, doing our bidding for us on our behalf. So we don't even need to do that. And Now, this is the big thing that has me thinking, is like, about metrics and authenticity, right? Like, creators are using AI to generate the content, but then if that content is also being consumed by AI, what's going to happen with advertisers? These operator bots are seeing these ads, the advertisers are paying for impressions, but they might not be from real humans. And obviously that's always been an issue with these ads, with the fraud. But more and more sophisticated like methods are being implemented by these AI tools, and I don't know, it's just going to be more and more expensive to get these eyeballs like we've been talking about. And it just makes me wonder, like, how much of what I see online is real anymore? And like with these stats in mind, is the dead internet theory already come true? And is it just going to get worse from this point on? What do you guys think?
I think you're right. I think more and more I'm seeing content where I start to question whether it's AI generated, and also what the purpose of it is a lot of the time. Like some of the stuff I see is utter trash. But the bot thing is interesting. So like the advertising has always been, like you say, always been an issue, right? You pay for impressions. And if you're working on an advertising model where you're trying to do commerce, then that is definitely going to be an issue. And you will find, about 2 years ago, we were talking about the rise of the micro influencers, right? Get influencers who are niche enough to what you're trying to sell and who have got eyeballs that they can guarantee are not bots. And yes, it might cost you a little bit more because they're niche, but you know that the audience are going to be engaged. So I think more and more it's going to get diluted in that the advertising is either going to get cheaper because people aren't getting the sales off the back of it, or you're going to have to pay more to guarantee that you're in a place where it's not bot heavy. I don't entirely understand how the platforms monitor that because it's getting more sophisticated. But that, for me, is how the advertising streams are going to go. In terms of the content on YouTube and some of it being more AI generated, I think if people like it, so be it, right? Like run your ad in there. Like if it is people watching it and say, let's say 50% of it's bots or 50% of it's real people, that's fine if you've got tens of thousands of people watching because you've still got quite a high concentration of real people. And I do see a lot of it more being, I haven't seen those platform channels that you said specifically, but if it's more along like the, not cartoon, but animated film storytelling route that can be made by AI and actually is quite cool once it's made, I can see why a lot more content on YouTube is going down that way because it's long form. The other thing is a lot of content creators are moving to TikTok, right? TikTok and Instagram is where they're going to go to create original content because it's cheaper, shorter, can reach the right people that they're looking for. So I think, yes, the dead internet theory is in play and it has been for a little while and it's only going to get worse. But I don't know. I think the advertising side of things, people are going to have to change their models. It's the same way we're talking about search having to change how people pay for placements. It's another one that's just going to have to evolve with the times.
So the bots have kidnapped my mum. So I was back in the UK recently and I noticed a change in my mother's behaviour. And that change is that she's constantly scrolling YouTube shorts. And I mean, these iPhones these days, her iPhone's newer than mine. The speaker on that, I mean, she's not wearing headphones. I mean, I can hear it from anywhere in the house, whatever she's watching. And what I observed from it, while YouTube has kidnapped my mother and got this stranglehold on her, is that a lot of the content is repetitive. Not only is it repetitive, it's clearly been made by AI. And I blame the platform here because the platform has control over the algorithm. They have algorithmic control over their own platform. And they choose to prioritize AI-generated content over other content. And so there's that side of it. So I blame that. I agree with Jason. Bot dominance is there. So a growing and now a significant portion of content out there, social media posts, videos are AI generated. And so the bots have kind of infiltrated that. But then there's a third part to this, and we've all witnessed this and seen this. I don't want to blame, I am. I'm going to say that I certainly noticed the change kick into high gear from around, the COVID times, the pandemic times. A decline in human activity, a decline in genuine human activity online, genuine human engagement. Engagement is dwindling, buried under fake accounts, the rise of fake accounts over the past 5-6 years. And I think that's contributed to it. We don't proactively engage anymore. Engage in the term of the old meaning of engagement, like, share, comment. We as humans do that less now. We more passively engage. And so the bots have kind of replaced that. You look on any Facebook post or any YouTube video and look at the comments, you can tell that half of the comments are from bots. And we've all been joking, many people have been joking about it for the past couple of years. So the bots have been there. They're just on the rise and they're getting more sophisticated. And now that AI can be used to create content, and especially content that, and I think we forget this. We forget this because we'll see something and we'll be like, oh, that's AI. But then I've seen it. My mother is watching endless YouTube shorts giving health advice for anyone aged over 65, and it's all garbage. And and she's watching it, and then she's like, oh, if I rub a clove of garlic on my knee each morning, it's going to make my knee feel better. And it's like, but how do you know that, Mum? Oh, because this video told me. And it's like, oh my God, these people raised us. What was the internet done to them? Oh, yeah. So maybe the dead internet theory has some strong credence. Maybe it is that way. Maybe it is that most of the internet is just going to be artificially generated by bots, AI, algorithms, rather than real human activity. We're just going to become passengers. It's so odd. It's so odd. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Make of them what you will.
And be careful of YouTube Shorts, because that's the one thing that we make sure that our 7-year-old daughter does not watch, just because it really is, brain rot on steroids, because it's just 2 or 3 seconds of nonsense and then the next one and then the next one. So yeah, I feel your anxiety around YouTube Shorts with your mum. For me, it's my daughter. I think with this, Jen touched on it with the advertisers. If you're an advertiser and you put your ads out on there and it's only bots watching it, then what's going to happen is there's not going to be any ROI or decent sales as a result of your ads. So because a bot can't go on Amazon or walk into Boots and buy what you're selling, but so it'll either become cheaper, or they'll stop. It's less effective, so they'll stop paying for it, or somebody's going to come in and put in a block, a bot blocker, or something that shows organic analytics of the success of your campaign versus the synthetic analytics. So we did a campaign, it went on YouTube. This is the organic interactions that happened as a result. This is the giant amount of synthetic bots that looked at and watched and interacted with your campaign as a result. So maybe we block the bots, or maybe we stop paying as advertisers to go there.
Or maybe the bots block us.
Oh God, here we go. I need to go now because I want to. I'm going to apply to be a nuclear physicist at Leeds University. So I'll need to get going.
Got some big study to do.
I thought you were going to say you're going to apply at the Springfield power plant. That's what I thought you were going to apply. But
that'd be even better, because I just have the little bird that hits Y on my keyboard. That's working from home. Just heaven, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Why don't we? Why don't we move on from that? Because I don't think we're going to solve that bot thing. But let's keep an eye on the death of the internet. And do you know what, Matt? Speaking of death, isn't it the death of the hashtag? Is it more death? Death.
More destruction. I think it's just the world moving on. But yes, the ex-PayPal director, the boring company CEO, and the ex-head of Doge, soon to be ex-US citizen Elon Musk, has announced something that's going to be changing on X, as he always does, kind of weekly. But this latest announcement that's caught my attention is last Friday he said hashtags will no longer be allowed on ads on X. He said starting tomorrow, this was last Thursday, the aesthetic, with a typo, the aesthetic nightmare that is hashtags will be banned from ads on X. So obviously this got a lot of attention because it's Mr. Musk, but also it gets people that work in advertising, marketing, content creation, people that still actually advertise on X to discuss the demise of the hashtag. And I worked in marketing and advertising back in the day when social media was fresh and you had to spend lots of time constructing pyramids of hashtags to ensure that it got the maximum reach on every post. So it is a cultural thing of the past, the hashtag. I've personally haven't used them to get reach or extra engagement. For me, it's always been a method to categorize or to easily search content. But for some reason, this has caused a lot of reaction of people talking about the hashtag and what do we do? So why can't we use them? A quick thought from me is, why would you want hashtags on an ad that goes on X anyway? Because it's an ad, you're paying for the reach. So what's the point? So it's kind of like, it doesn't make sense anyway. But I think this is just part of Elon's, he's got like a personal vendetta against the aesthetics of hashtags, because back in December last year, he did a post on X saying, please stop using hashtags. The system doesn't need them anymore. Plus they look ugly. So he's kind of got a personal vendetta against hashtags, it seems. He's not, doesn't seem a lot of science behind it. But if we look at the platforms, the social media platforms, they're pretty much just, if you want to search on there, you don't have to use hashtags anymore. It's been like that for a while. You can type in a word, any word, and you can search for content that's related to that word. So that means that keywords are important in social. And even on TikTok, you've got in the creative center on TikTok, it even has a specific section on keyword insights. So I thought this was interesting just because for me personally, as I work in content on social platforms and have done for a while, and Elon's always a big news grabber, I thought that'd be something to discuss. And one more thing before I put to you guys about your thoughts on hashtags. I'm also going to bring up my favorite platform and Jen's favorite platform, which is LinkedIn. Something that I looked at, right, is that I use hashtag as an anchor for my content on LinkedIn. I use my slogan for my company, which is hashtag make waves, not waste. So I'll put that on there. It just makes it easier for me to find, or if anyone else gives a crap about what I do, they can type that in. And I looked, and 22 people follow my hashtag make waves, not waste on LinkedIn. I have no idea who they are, but that's like a football squad almost, isn't it? So I thought that was interesting. So if anyone out there follows that, DM me for merch or a beer, I don't know, or just why. But
oh my gosh, we have to organise a meetup. The hashtag Make Waves Not Waste fan club.
Oh my God, can you help organise it, please? That'd be epic.
Yeah, I'm on it. We'll get it for the next episode. We'll do it from a pub. We'll do a live episode from the pub.
Matt, you said an interesting thing early on about, you don't use hashtags to grow reach or to as part of your growth strategy for content, but you're using it to kind of catalog your content. Do you think that's what most people are now using hashtags for, or do you think that people still use hashtags for other reasons?
No, I still see posts that have 50 hashtags on the bottom and hashtags that have no relation to the content, like hashtag please help me find another hashtag. So not everybody is using it properly. There's still some people that just think that if they chuck a mountain of hashtags on their content, that magically the whole world's going to see it and interact with it. But for me, I think hashtags are still good in general on social for if you're going to launch a campaign and that campaign's it's something new and you want people to remember having that as an anchor. UGC content works well if it's got some hashtags that's relevant to the user-generated content. And hashtags are good for building communities. It's weird that Jen just made a joke about the 22 people that follow my hashtag, but there's a quick, ridiculous example. They build communities because I'm a Sheffield United fan. I regularly go on X, sorry, not sorry, and look at hashtag Twitter Blades. Twitter Blades is still a hashtag for Sheffield United where people will put up the latest signings, the latest kit, who's our new sponsor. So there's the community that's attached to that anchored hashtag.
Yeah, I agree. When it's a campaign or based around a community, it works. You reminded me though of 10 years ago, even probably less than that even. Yeah, every campaign that was coming out had a hashtag, you know, and it was like that was like overkill in itself. And then a lot of them weren't unique to the brand or whatever that was doing it. But anyway, that's slightly off topic. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think quite a few platforms have come forward in their own way and have said whether hashtags still work or not. I think LinkedIn have said that it doesn't have anything to do with growth or for people to find your content. As you said earlier, there's that shift to keywords. The platforms are much smarter now, and Instagram, I think it was the CEO of Instagram said it as well. So yeah, I guess the reason for existence is reducing. Will it be a world without hashtags? Will it completely die out? Will it be a thing like maybe not Gen Z, but when Gen Alpha grow up, that they'll just never ever use them, and it'll be just a thing. It'll be like, oh god, it's a hashtag is an old person thing. Will it turn into that?
I like to think I'm young. I don't think I've ever used a hashtag. I've not searched a hashtag. I've not added a hashtag. Don't really know what the point in them is. So I think that might be coming. I also don't go on Twitter.
Never searched a hashtag. You've never.
Never.
Wow.
Not never. Not in the last 5 years, 4 years.
Okay.
No. I don't know why you would.
Not even make waves, not waste. What's going on?
I mean, I've literally just searched that. I'm trying to find out who our fan club is. Yeah.
Oh my God.
The thing is, right, he's just doing this with ads, right? And when I think about an ad, you have some content and then you have a call to action. And having these hashtags there kind of just gets in the way of what you want them to do, which is click your damn link, right? And then it's like, okay, well, I've got hashtags everywhere else. I want people to find my ads so I can pay to have them displayed. No, that should be for my organic content that I just put up there with those hashtags. Like for ads, just have the content and the call to action. That's my thing. So I think, not defending Elon or anything like that. The hashtag still has its place, but it's just in organic content, not in ads itself, in my opinion.
Here's an idea. What if we used hashtags to stop bots, like we were saying before? Is this too simplistic? But, we were talking about just earlier how we needed to stop the bots from creating and owning everything on the internet and all the content. What if we just simply put hashtag no bots? I'm sure AI would adhere to that rule and not infiltrate the human only content world, right? I've just solved the world.
Solved the world's problems. Yeah. Could use it against the bots.
What's interesting about that is they're saying that almost $100 billion in the coming year is going to be lost in ad fraud to bots. So like the financial incentive is so big for these guys to use AI to just generate so much content and overwhelm the algorithm with its A/B split testing, like literally hundreds of times a day or even thousands or potentially millions, that like it's worth it. It's like it's financially worth it to do it, right? So yeah.
Matt, you run an agency, so if a client comes to you and you're running a whatever, not even just a campaign, you're doing their always on social, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of it. Would you use hashtags for a client, or are you, from your agency hat perspective, are you still recommending hashtags, or do you just not recommend them for your clients?
So for influencer campaigns that I run with clients, they insist on a bunch of hashtags that they want the creator, the influencer, to put in the caption. And so that becomes a discussion between me and the client, with a respectful discussion of why do you want all those hashtags at the bottom of the caption. And then once we talk to the creator, especially if they're a big creator and experienced with a big audience, they'll push back and say, again, why do you want all those hashtags at the bottom? And I had this discussion recently where a really good creator on TikTok was like, tell the client I'm not putting more than 3 hashtags in this caption. So It comes down to the tactics. It's obviously not a big strategic decision. I think a lot of it comes down to the people that work in the brand and marketing teams just have this habit of needing and wanting to put hashtags into content for that specific example with influencer campaigns. So yeah, maybe this will start to die out as the brand marketing teams get younger. But when you push back on them and say, why do you want those hashtags there? A lot of the time, there isn't a great deal of scientific rigor behind why. It's just cause, just put it there.
I really thought you were going to say, maybe this will die out when brand and marketing teams start to die out. So I was smiling.
You are so dark. You just love to revel in the fact that us humans are just heading to the dumpster, don't you? It's just brilliant.
It's you and Jason. The two of you took us on this dark path today. I do think that some companies or some marketing teams, they do the hashtags to be more inward looking. And what I mean by that is there's almost like that expectation internally, and then they'll put a hashtag out just with their company name sometimes, and it's just for them to search it themselves. You know, I think my point is, I think a lot of hashtags are being used for the wrong reasons. You know,
Jag, are you using hashtag in corporate? You know what you're doing in social.
I think what I just said is a big hint.
It makes internal stakeholders feel all warm and fuzzy when they see their hashtag out there in the world. There you go.
Yes, completely warm and fuzzy in their Tootsie Toes that they're seeing the company name used in a hashtag. One quick one, and then we'll wrap up. One quick one on the hashtag thing. Back when I worked for HSBC, they were insistent on launching a campaign that had the hashtag starts today. And the only feedback I gave was that it's not brand ownable because people won't look at that hashtag and think of HSBC when they see the hashtag starts today. And I said, why not have a hashtag that involves HSBC somewhere in the hashtag? And of course they didn't listen to their head of UK social media, and they went ahead and did starts today. And shortly after the campaign launched, it was their big campaign. They'd spent millions. There was even a TV ad that used the hashtag starts today. And I forget, so I don't want to say, but some kind of embarrassing health thing or medical thing, and I can't remember what it was specifically, but a product related to that used the hashtag starts today. And so there we go. If it's not ownable, brands, if you're a brand, make it ownable. Doesn't necessarily have to have your brand name in it, but make sure that it's ownable. But thanks to Matt and his latest news, we may not need hashtags anymore. All right, brilliant. I think we'll leave it there, guys. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Jen. This has been episode 92 of Disconnected, and we'll see you on the next one.